Hey, board gamers, BJ from Board Game Gumbo here, back in the Gumbo pot, this time with another unboxing. We're taking a look at SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence from CGE. Let's get right to that table, see what's inside this box. So this is an unusual unboxing because I've actually played this game 2 or 3 times. I dig it. It's probably my game of the year. But I didn't have a copy. I had to play off of Logan and maybe Doug. I think Doug also has a copy. So I played on both their copies. And I said, I got to get this game for myself. So this is SETI. I was able to pick it up at Southern Board Game Fest. And it is a game for 1 to 4 players designed by Tomáš Holek. Tomáš Holek, very hot game designer right now. A lot of great games that he's been putting out. So this is the first game I played from Tomáš. It is a game about searching for extraterrestrial intelligence, of course, but it really carries that theme throughout the gameplay. It doesn't feel like a bland abstract Euro. I mean, you really feel like that's what you're doing. So let's see what we got here. We got some tiles. I remember these. Just put these to the side, see if I can get that rule book going. We got a big stack of cards. I'm going to sleeve them as soon as this unboxing is over. We've got all the pieces. These are the rewood and replastic pieces. If you're not familiar, CGE does some kind of thing where they take recycled wood and recycled plastic and make cool bits out of them. We'll take a look at that in a second. I love the fact that they're giving us some bags. Let's get to the top of the board, otherwise known as the aliens board. And so the cool thing about SETI is that you're going to be playing kind of standard Euro mechanics where you've got these multi-use cards that you can use for resources or use for their powers. And you're searching the galaxy, which I'm going to show, searching the solar system, I'm going to show in just a second, looking for extraterrestrial life. Well, all of a sudden you're going to find that extraterrestrial life. And then, right, this is it, yep. These are the different little tiles that you can get. So this is not the alien board. These are the tiles that you're going to get during the game that you can upgrade your board with. And this is get what it's called, renown, I like to call it, but basically it's advertising. It's how the publicity that you get. But the cool thing about this game is that each game there's going to be 2 random aliens. I believe there's 5. Since I don't own the game, I'm going to find out. I'll look through the rule book. I think there's 5, and you have 2 of them that are random. And each game it's going to be different because the two aliens are going to be face down. You're not exactly sure what aliens you're going to be facing this time. And each of the 5 that I think now I've played 4 of the 5, and each of them are very different. Like they kind of change some of the strategy that you have in the game. They're just one part of the game. I've seen people win without focusing just on what the aliens do. But you can score a lot of points, or as in my case. So I'm going to play the game 3 times because I played the aliens. There's one alien that you actually lose points if you have the most of a certain card from those aliens. And twice now I've had the most even when I thought I was in the middle, and you end up losing 10% of your points. All right, enough talk about all the aliens. We're going to get to aliens in a second. This is going to be the board that we're going to need to set up. And as you can see, there's going to be it's kind of a picture of the solar system. We've got Neptune, and we're going to have the sun over here. And then on top of that, we're going to have some overlays of different planets and things. And they're going to rotate 3 different ways during the course of the game. So you'll be sending out your little satellites out from Earth. And as you go out into the solar system, you'll land on these different planets, and that is going to be represented by the big board. It's so big, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to see it here. Where is the big board? Wow, there's a lot to open up in this game here. All right, so we've got. Yeah, we're gonna get to all that in just a second. We've got the different aliens here, and it looks like there are 5 different aliens: the Centaurians, the Umoya, the Exertions, the Anomalies, and the Muscomites. I've played all but the Centaurians. I've not played these guys, so let's see what they're all about. We got some really excellent player handbooks, kind of player sheets, information sheets, some cheat sheets. It's got all the different actions and things. Symbology. Once you get through the first third of the game, you're gonna understand all the symbology. It's really well. The graphic design is really well done. There was a couple of quirks, like some of the things had numbers or 1 time or 2 time or 3 time, and some of them didn't. I thought that was kind of curious, but other than that, it was pretty simple. And there's a lot of explanation in these little guidebooks, so that's pretty cool. We got the rulebook. I've never seen the rulebook, so I have no idea what it looks like. It's called the instruction manual, of course. And CGE is going to have, I'm assuming it's going to have some funny jokes in there because that's typically what they do. But they've got a nice visual representation of all the player components. Real quick. That gorgeous art, man. I didn't even see that. That is gorgeous. Gorgeous art everywhere here. So, on the back of this thing. Oh, look at that. That's just some beautiful artwork. So lots of impressive stuff in there. So wow, when you're talking about a setup, I mean, you can't miss that. It's got all the numbers and it's directly pointing to exactly what parts of the boards and everything. Got the player setup again with pictures, the turn structure. I really like the look of this book. It feels like an instructor manual. That's that representation of the planets that I told you about. So we've got the sun here, and it looks lighted up. And actually, the Doug and Logan copies, they actually put little lights in there, so the sun actually lights up during the game. And as you can see, they've got little satellites. They're going to be moving out through the solar system. We got Jupiter and Mars and Mercury and Venus and Earth. They'll start at Earth, of course, and move. And that's part of what you're going to be using the cards and the special actions for, is moving those satellites when you get them out there, because you want to land on the planets that are going to score you points or give you better resources. There's kind of a race to it too, and there's a little bit of an area majority aspect to it. There's a lot of systems going on in this game, but none of the mechanics in this game are hard to crunch. It's just trying to figure out the best way to score all the points. That's the meat of this game. So yeah, so far this looks like a great rule book. We will take a look at it. Lots of, I mean, you know, nothing distracting. Lots of visual examples. I like this. And a solo game, which I will leave for you to discover on your own. And then some rule reminders. I love that. On the back of the rulebook, use the back of the rulebook for something, either some kind of cheat sheet or turn structure, or love this. This is like, you know, commonly asked questions. A little FAQ. Okay, good. All right, now we're getting somewhere. Okay, so we're looking at the planetary board. Yeah, probably one of the coolest elements in the game. Let's see if we can pop this bad boy out. Yeah, there we go. The one of the coolest things about this game. Oh, look at all the cool artwork on the back here. I never even noticed this because I didn't own the game. But on the front, so this is going to go on top of the solar system, and then as you move your satellites out and you land on the different planets, you can launch those satellites onto the planets, launch them onto the actual planets themselves, or onto the moons if you have certain upgrades. And you can see that each one of them has, see these little the little typical Roman laurel leaves there? That's points. So you've got different ways of scoring the base points, or even the bigger points if you can land on these tougher to land on moons like Triton and Titania. So that's a big element of the game, is figuring out, you know, battling between people as to who's, you know, which planets we're going to want to land on, which moons we're going to land on. Are you going to focus on lots of rapid advancement on the planets, or, you know, build up to that big launch to one of the moons? And then up here on the top is going to be where the aliens go. At some point during the game, we're going to have, hopefully, we're going to have discovered enough alien intelligence and decode the messages that we're getting. That's part of the 3 parts of the game. And when we do that, it'll flip over one of the aliens. When we do it again, it'll flip over the other alien. And then we're going to have 2 separate boards right here. And those boards are also going to take player markers where you can get resources or score points. So lots of systems in this game, but they all interconnect very well. Okay, yeah. So these are kind of in during the game goals that we're looking at, and you can score points if you're the first person that is going to match those up. So if you have those, that's the three parts of the game. That's the getting the messages and exploring. Been a month or two since I played, so some of this is coming back to me, some of it is not right away. Need a couple more plays to get that in there. All right, so this is these are the parts that we're going to use to build out the circles that are going to rotate during the game, and you can see they've got the different planets there, and as we rotate around, the way it rotates, it's certain actions are going to cause the board to rotate, but you're either going to rotate one of the rings, and so the one ring will just move the inside. The outer rings will move everything. So things are going to get switched around, and you're trying to land on a certain planet, and then somebody moves, and so you've got to deal with that. So this game is Euro, but it does have some interaction that is fun. So what we got next. Okay, so we got, looks like player boards. No, not player boards. Looking for this. Definitely not player boards. More alien boards. Okay. Without knowing what the aliens are and what each one of them is, we're not going to know what all these different. We're not going to know the ways to put our pieces on there. But you can see that some of them, for instance, on this particular board, depending on what color that you're picking with the markers, you can get either points, or you can get some alien points, or upgrade your publicity. We've got two more of the aliens here, and then the fifth one. So we've got all five of the aliens. We've got, these are those tiles that I told you about. One of the cool things about your game is that you can actually upgrade, and you have lots of ways to customize your player board. Maybe you like collecting data, so you can upgrade your data, and that way every time you've collected all the data and run your little program, you're going to get tons of little bonuses every time you do that. Some more of those dials that I told you about, and these are the inner planets, Mercury, Venus, and Earth, and then of course Mars in that next level in the belt, and then beyond the belt we've got Jupiter and Saturn. There, Pluto is not a planet in the game. They recognize that Pluto is an exoplanet, but there is a promo card that you can get Pluto, and it's very desirable. So we've got the cards. If I can show you some of the cards, I'd like to show the multi-use part of the cards. SETI English Pack 2. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about in terms of cards. You can see, like, this is the resource over here that you can just, if you want to discard it, to get that resource there. You've got the actions themselves. Gain 3 points for each card with this symbol tucked for income. This is an engine builder at heart, and you're going to want to get certain cards to build up your income. Every time you take the income phase, you'll get that money back. It'll be money, it'll be, all the different resources in the game. So deciding which cards that you're going to use for that to build it up, to tuck under for income, is an important one. So as you can see, there's lots going on here. We've got all the different symbols, and these symbols, the yellow, red, and the blue, are also important because each one of those relate to the board, of course, but they also relate to some of the actions that you're doing, because you may have an action that says you can pick up a red card, or you can pick up a blue card, or you can get, dismiss those cards. So there is a lot going on in these cards, but the symbology, once you learn it, is pretty simple. Lots of great artwork here, and even on the bottom, a little hard for my tired old eyes to see, but there is some interesting facts. And if you're playing a 3 or 4 player game, admittedly there's a little bit of downtime, so you can spend some time reading some of the facts. That's kind of a neat part to the game. I do want to show off the pieces a little bit, what we call it. First one is the sun, and again, there are some things on the internet where you can figure out how to add a little lamp to this, a little light, and that's the sun piece that's going to go in that middle. It'll go in the middle right there. You pop it up like that. And then it is kind of cool to have it lighted, especially when you're playing. We've got the data pieces. And what's cool about the data pieces is they're doing this both with the wood and with the plastic, but they're not just regular tokens. If you actually look on them, they've got little ones and zeros on there, like data little things on both sides. Hard to see on this camera, of course, but they're textured plastic, which is pretty cool. The satellites come in each of the different colors. So we've got gold, purple, green, and silver, or gray, or white. But when you look at the different player pieces, it's I don't know, it says they're wood. It feels like almost like a plasticky wood because if these are the wooden pieces, because they've recycled them and made them into just some of the most interesting shapes. So we've actually got satellites that are it's kind of molded. I'd love to see the process. I wonder if there is a video on that. And then of course the little player markers. So we've got those in 4 different colors. All right, that's everything you get in the box of SETI. I tried to do a general overview of the game. The game is basically playing cards, moving your satellites around on the board, searching for intelligence, collecting data, and then eventually converting all that data or you're searching into revealing the 2 aliens and getting close to triggering the game. There's during game points. There's end of the game points, and races for those. There is multi-use cards, a little bit of area, majority in there. There's a lot going on, but like I said, Tomáš does a good job of making the game accessible, but still deep and crunchy if you like those mid-weight or maybe mid-weight to heavy style games. SETI, one of my favorite games of the year. Can't wait to play it again. In fact, we got to get this streamed because I'm not doing a great job of giving the overview, but Logan and Doug can do a better job, and Jeremy. So take a look for that on our Twitch Tuesdays or our Euro Mondays on Twitch, where we play your games live on TV. That's twitch.tv/BoardGameGumbo. And until next time, or until Sobo, laissez les bon temps rouler.